Hey everybody, it's Debbie O'Neill of Scrap Me Quick Designs and the Let's Learn Cricut Explore Facebook group, and there is a new image set in the CRICUT Access Library for CRICUT Access Library subscribers. Whether you're monthly or yearly, CRICUT released this Dashing Through the Snow image set, and it's really fun, and we're going to work on the sleigh. I'm going to show you how to put the sleigh together and all the materials that I use to do that. But real quick, let me show you. There is a PDF that that I will also post for you that CRICUT put out, that has the dimensions that you need to put in Design Space. So your image is going to come in as one big group. And then CRICUT's given you the dimensions of what you need to put into the width and the height of your project, okay? So you will need to unlock your dimension in Design Space and put these dimensions in so that then it comes out at the right measurement. And then it tells you what the size of the finished image is. So this is a 3D, what they call their sweater tall tree. So it's going to be 6.5 inches long once you tall once you finish putting it together, okay? And there's instructions for each of the images. So there is the sweater, the tall sweater tree. There is a short sweater tree. There again, it has different dimensions, so just make sure you do that. This one ends up being 4 inches tall. Then there is the sleigh, which I'm going to show you, but there's also Design Space dimensions that you put in for the width and the height, and then this is going to end up being, it'll be 4.5 inches tall or high once we finish it, okay? And there's step-by-step directions in the PDF for you to put all these together, all right? But I'm going to show you how to put the sleigh together because it's a little bit trickier. And then there's all these little packages that you put in the back of your tray. Now, these are small, so I want to point out the Design Space file says this is, you put it in at 3.66 by 5.76 inches high. When you finish it, this box is only like 1/4 of an inch tall. Okay, so it's a tiny package. It's not made for you to make it for a gift box. It is a decoration that goes inside the sleigh. There was a little confusion about that. So the same thing with this little tall box. It's only 1 inch tall. The round box is only 0.87 inches tall. These are little packages that go in the back of your sleigh. Anyway, and then they have this 3D Christmas house, which I cannot wait to put together. So I will be working on this. Maybe I'll do a video on that for y'all too. Anyway, so the finished height of the Christmas house is going to be 9.2 inches high. So it'll still be kind of a small image, but it should be awfully fun to put together. And there again, there's directions, and then there's a 3D star. So these are all 3D images. So this is a 3D star, and there are directions on how to put this together. Now this one will end up being 27 inches when you put it all together. Okay, so there's multiple pieces, and then when you put it together, it'll form that. And there again, there's directions for it. So we are going to be working on the sleigh that's in this new Dashing Through the Snow. Now, this is only available in Design Space for CRICUT Access users right now as subscribers. And so if you don't have CRICUT Access, but you're really interested in that, I'll put some links for subscribing either yearly or on monthly, so you have a choice. And then let's talk about the materials you're going to need. So you'll have the cut file. You'll have, you know how to put the measurements in. Where you get that from is on this PDF. You'll have a link to the PDF. I'll put all that in the description for the video. And then you're going to need some cardstock. So I highly recommend the CRICUT cardstock because it's a great weight. And right now at CRICUT.com, the cardstock is on sale for an unbelievably low price. Plus, I'm going to give you an extra 15% off if you use my promo code, and I'll put all that in the description of the video. Anyway, so you want to pick a cardstock that has a good weight to it. It can't be too thin, and you want something that's going to cut well in the Cricut Explorer, and of course this cut out beautifully, okay? And it recommends that you use the light grip blue mat, all right? And they have it where you can buy it in single color stacks, or you can buy it in bulk. This is 24 sheets. This is their holiday sampler, and you get 4 sheets of 6 different colors, and so I'll show you that real quick. So this is and I've used some of the red already. So there's a lighter red, a really dark red. There is a really pretty blue-green color, okay? And then there is a bright green and a dark green, okay? And there again, you get 4 sheets of each color. And you get this really pretty kind of cream color, okay? So this is the holiday pack. They have, you can purchase all of these colors in, and there's a bunch of different colors, not just these, but this is the holiday pack. They also have, you can buy a whole set of the colors of the same color packs. So if you're looking for, and you need a whole bunch of red, this is the way to go. Now, the other thing that I'm going to be using, so I'm using the red, and I also am using some of the Cricut glitter paper, okay? Now, if you have not seen or used the Cricut glitter paper yet, oh my gosh, guys, you've got to go get some of this. It is fabulous, and look how great it cuts out in the Cricut Explorer. It cuts beautifully out. I know some of y'all are always asking me, what glitter paper should I use? And what if it's got a lot of detail on it? You know, I want to get a good quality glitter paper. This Cricut glitter paper is so nice. They just came out with it a couple of months ago. I've been using it on several different projects. Sorry. They have it in sampler packs. So this is the classic sampler, and you get, and I'll just show you real quick. So you get gold, silver, black, and this really pretty kind of multi-white, and you get bronze, and you get 2 sheets of each of these colors. Now this is the classic sampler pack, and I'm using the silver, so I'll be using that in my project when I show you that. And then they also have a bright glitter cardstock, and this has red and really beautiful blue and bright green, and of course it has this beautiful rose pink, which I love, and then a lighter blue. Okay, so you get these colors, you get 2 of each of these in the bright sampler pack. And there again, guess what? Yep, if you want all of the same color of cardstock, glitter cardstock, you can get a 10-pack of the glitter cardstock. Like this is a gold pack. I bought one in every color because I use a lot of glitter cardstock, because you know I'm all about the shine, right? And so now's a great time to go buy this because it's so cheap right now. It's 35% off plus my 15%, so it's 50% off. You can't beat this. Okay, all right, so the other thing you're going to need is you need a blue grip mat, okay? And that's what's recommended for both the Cricut glitter paper and the cardstock, all right? And I wanted to give y'all a couple of tips about this. One, the blue mats. I love the blue mats. I'm almost exclusively using the light grip mats now. So there's 3 kinds of mats. So there's the light blue mat, there's a green mat, that's the regular green, and the green stickiness rather, and then there's the strong grip mat, which is the purple one. And all the mats are on sale right now too, so if you need mats, now's the good time to pick that up. But when you put your glitter paper on, you're going to put it on and you want to push it down, you know, you're going to put it on, then you're going to put it in your Cricut Explorer to cut it. But you're not going to cut this on the cardstock setting. You want to put your Cricut Explorer, the custom dial, put it on custom, okay? The smart dial, put it to custom, and when the little drop down comes down, you want to pick the Cricut glitter paper. And what that's going to do is it's going to cut it twice. It's going to cut the image twice, and then you're going to end up with this beautiful cut glitter paper. Now, once you get it out of your what I recommend you do is you flip over your mat and then peel it up, okay? And just slowly, I just kind of slowly do it, okay? And this is much easier to get that glitter paper off, okay? And then I'm going to remove my image. So I've already taken some of these off because I was prepping the project. But I'm just very gingerly, I wanted to show y'all, I'm not just ripping this right up. I'm just gingerly kind of going, because there is a lot of cut on this and there's some thin lines. So I'm just kind of gently pulling it off, so don't be a brute when you're taking it off. And look how nice that looks. I mean, it just came off beautifully. So, and then once you get all your images off, you're going to end up with all the negative part that you don't need. You need to get rid of that. How do I get that off? That's the other question. People are always asking me, how do I get that off? Okay, so Cricut has the little scraper tool, right? So you could use this. However, when I have this much stuff that I need to get off, it's going to take me forever to do this with one little tiny scraper tool. So I use the Cricut Extra Large Scraper. And this is great for when you're working with a lot of intricate projects and you need to get this excess off of your mats. It's also great when you're doing vinyl work. You can use it as a squeegee to put, to get the transfer paper on, and then to also smooth it onto your surface. So this is the Cricut Extra Large Scraper. Highly recommend this. I've really enjoyed having it. Okay, so then I can just take this, and look how much easier that is. I just took all of that off in just a couple of seconds. Okay, and then I'll just do the same thing. I'm just holding it at a slight angle and then pushing it off. Okay, so this is a awesome tool to have. All right, so you will have your little PDF. Okay, now I printed mine out so we could look at it while we're putting the project together. This is a downloadable PDF, so you can either print it out or you could just, look at it on your computer or your electronic device. And you want to have this out because Cricut's given you some directions here on how and where and what to glue. But for those of you who are new to working with the Cricut 3D images, sometimes these graphics can be a little bit confusing. And so that's why I decided I would put this one together for you so you could see how it works, and then we'll kind of follow along the diagram, and I'll talk about that so that you can follow along too as you're working with the other projects. Then you'll kind of get an idea how this works. Okay, so I've already cut out all the images. The other things you're going to need for this is there are score lines on the cardstock and also on the glitter paper. So you will need your score pin for the Cricut Explorer, and that goes in that accessory holder, and your project will prompt you to put your score pin in. When I know I'm scoring a project, I just automatically go ahead and put it in. And what am I talking about? If y'all are brand new to this, you have two heads on your Cricut Explorer machine, and the side that has a little A on it, that is your accessory holder. So this is where your score pin goes in, and there is a little arrow here, and you're just going to, I usually hold this and then I push this down, and you'll hear it kind of click. Okay, and then you close this up, and then your score pin is ready to go. You do the same thing if you're using any of the Cricut pins. Same thing. Okay, you would do the same thing, and then I always hold it when I pull it up just so I'm not breaking it or anything. And so this is where your accessory goes. So you want to have your score pin, okay? And you also need to have some liquid glue. Now, I like to use my close to my heart liquid glass glue, and I will post a link because let me show you. Cricut recommends you use glue, right? Well, some of this is really super thin. Like if you're looking at some of these lines, if you're using a big bottle of glue, it's going to be really hard to keep that glue where it needs to be. So I like to use my liquid glass. It's a clear drying, fast drying paper glue, and it also works when we have to glue the glitter together. But it has a tiny nozzle. Okay, so let me move this back here now. Okay, so it has a tiny nozzle on it, and this is really going to give us a lot of control when we're working with our smaller shapes and we need to put the glue on it. Okay, and so once you score all of this and you cut it all out, you're going to have multiple pieces. Okay, so each of the pieces is on here. So I'm just going to show you guys. So you'll have multiple pieces, and you can kind of lay it out based on what you're seeing in step one. Okay, so let me kind of move this. I moved it so we could see. Okay, so you've got these two pieces that are cut out, and I cut mine out of glitter paper. Now you could use cardstock for this if you don't want, but I know I wanted mine to look fancy. And then you have two of these pieces that go, okay, with the sleigh, the sled. I don't know what you call that, the blades. And then you're going to have multiple pieces of what you cut out of the red cardstock, and you'll just need to look at the shape. So here's this shape, and you'll see that there's score lines along the edges, okay? So I always just go ahead, once I get the shape ready, I go ahead and I do all my creases, and you can use a bone folder if you want, but I typically just use my nails since I have acrylic nails, and it works fine. Okay, so you're going to have this shape, okay? Then you're going to have this shape, okay, right here. And this one has, it looks like this, and there's score lines on it, so I'm going to fold those score lines in. And this is where the back of your sleigh is going to be. That's going to be the back of the sleigh. And so Cricut says in this step 1, go ahead and find the glitter piece or the outline. If you did yours in cardstock, find the outline that you cut out and go ahead and glue it on. Okay, so that's what I've done here, and I'll show you gluing here in just a minute. So you'll have this piece, and you'll have glued that on. And then you will also have this piece, okay, which is this one. So this one has that kind of curved flap on it, and it's a longer rectangle here. And then I found the little piece that matched the curve of this, and I glued that one on, so that one's ready to go. And then you have one that has multiple, it's got a fold here, it's got a fold here, a fold here, and then it's got folds on the sides. Okay, this creates the seat inside the sleigh. So it also says go ahead and add your outline piece. Okay, so I've already glued this on, and then I've folded the edges around where my score line is for these. All right, now what I wanted to share with you is that sometimes when you have score lines on glitter paper, it can be rather hard to either see it or for it to have scored deep enough for it to do it. Okay, so let me show you another way that I do this. Is I have a score tool. Okay, so this is a separate product. This is not anything to do with Cricut. This is my close to my heart score tool. There's different score tools out there. I like this one because it's a smaller size, but it expands to be larger, and it's just easier for me to keep in my craft room. But there is very faintly, there's a score line here where these two flaps fold in, but it's really hard to see that, and it's also kind of hard to fold that glitter paper. All right, so what I do is I line it up with my score tool. I'm going to line it up here so that I will be able to just use this in the grooves to score along that edge where this needs to come. Okay, and then that's going to help me fold. That's going to help me fold the glitter paper in. Okay, so if you're having trouble with that, you might want to consider using a scoreboard to fold it over. Okay, and then you're just going to fold that in. All right, now a couple of the shapes, when you do the liner for the seat, also has a score line right here at the edge of where this box is here for the seat part. There's a score line that runs right here. Okay, and so I did the same thing. I just laid it on my scoreboard and I scored it. And when I score, I always score from the back side of it. I don't score on top of the glitter, so I wouldn't accidentally flake any of it off. Okay, so once I get that part done, so this is all your prep work that they're showing you in step 1. Okay, so this is all the prep work we're talking about. And then, of course, you're going to have your pieces of the sides of your sleigh. So I've already glued my liner on, but I wanted to show you gluing the liner. Okay, so you can see how easy it is when you use the liquid glue. All right, so I have my liner and I have my cardstock piece, and this is just going to go on top of this just like this. Okay, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put adhesive on the back side of my glitter paper, and with this glue I am able to get around, and I'm not putting big globs on, I'm just barely pushing on the side so the glue comes out, and I'm able to go around all these little nooks and crannies of this without getting glue everywhere, which is awesome. Now you could use a glue pen for this if you want, but I prefer the liquid glue, and Cricut does too, just because it makes your projects stay more sturdy, I guess you would say, that the pieces aren't going to. Now on these little squares here, I'm just putting a little dollop of glue there, and then, but on any of the larger pieces, I am making sure I'm putting glue on them, okay, because I want that to all stick down really well. And then I'm going to flip it over, so you want to make sure you're using the right side, the correct side of your shape, and then I'm just going to push it down, okay, and get that on. Now this dries completely clear, so don't freak out if you've got some little spots on it. It'll dry clear, we won't even notice that. Where you see that it kind of turns it a little darker. Okay, so we've got our sides glued. All right, so once you get your sides glued, what you need to do is we're going to find the two sleigh pieces. So now we're going to move to step 2. Okay, so it says get your 2 sleigh pieces. So we know the sleigh is going to go like this. Okay, so this glitter part's going to face the outside and this one's going to face towards us. And then you want to find the piece that looks angled like that, which is this one, because that's the back of the sleigh. And then you're going to glue these 2 edges together along where you've got that score line. Okay, so here's where we scored it. So there's a little flap there. There's another one on the bottom, and there's one here on the side. Okay, so there's one on each side. So you're going to take the correct side of your sleigh, and we're just going to glue this on. We're going to put some adhesive there, and we're going to glue our sleigh on. Okay, so I'm just going to add some glue here. You don't want to put just gobs of this, but you want to make it so that there is enough there that it's covering that. And this is quick drying glue, so once you get it on there, you want to make sure you have it in the right position. We've got the corner up here on our sleigh. Okay, so now we have this side done. Now we want to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to put some glue on here. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to match that corner up at the top here. We've got both sides of this on, and I'm going to let that dry for just a second while we work on the next piece. Okay, so we make sure that it's stuck on there really well. But now we've got our sleigh sides, okay, which is what they're showing in step 3. Okay, so once you get that part done, then it looks like step 3. All right, now let's look at step 4. So in step 4, it says we need to put the base of the sleigh on, and that piece is this one. Okay, so it's the one that has those 2 curved flaps on it, and this is where we added that one little liner piece that fits right here. And then this actually comes up here. It goes like this. Okay, so it's going to fold over because this is going to be the front of our sleigh. Okay, and then this is going to go on the inside. So in the diagram, it shows you that that's where that goes. So that's step 4, and that we're going to be gluing this. We're going to be gluing these sides onto our project. Okay, now we're going to put the inside flap of the back of our sleigh is going to go right here on top of the base piece. So you've got this little crease piece here, and that's going to go right here on the inside, just like that. All right, so I'm going to add some adhesive here. Okay, and then I'm going to lay it in here. And I'm matching up the back, so I'm going to flip this over to make sure that I have it lined up across the back. Okay. And then I'm going to add some adhesive that's going to go along the edge of these outside pieces here, and then also here where the sleigh is. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to add some adhesive along the edges here. I don't need a ton. I just want to make sure I've got enough on there that it's going to hold it on. And then I'm also going to put some on this kind of curved area right in here. Okay, and then when I flip this over, hold this together. I'm just going to hold it in place there. Okay, and this forms the front of the sleigh that's kind of angled. Make sure that one side's on well, and then I'll glue the other side. This dries quickly, so once you kind of get it in place, it grabs it. Okay, so now we have this part of our sleigh, which is in step 5. Okay, so it shows you your sleigh will look like this now. Once you have that in, then we go to step 6. And step 6 is this one that we added the little bench part to. Okay, so there are crease lines, there are score lines all along the edges there, so you're going to score it. Make sure you fold it up, and then you have scored your seat part when you added your liner on there. And then there's little flaps, and we're just going to fold all those in. Okay, so here's this part. So you want to make sure you have this scored and folded so it looks like, you know, that this is the seat. Okay, and then you have the back part of that. So that's the piece that's kind of got a curve on it, and it's got little flaps on the sides that look like this. You're going to fold those in. Okay, and this is where this piece is going to go right in here. Okay, so it's going to go like this. All right, so we're going to glue that part to the back of this. So I'm going to add some glue. That's what they're showing in step 6. I'm just going to add some glue to the back of this, and then this is going to come in here. And keep it folded along. It's got so it matches the edges up on the side, and then you're going to have like the little side panels. Okay, and so we're just going to stick that on. So now this forms our seat that's going to go inside the sleigh. So this is the part we just did, step 6. Okay, where we glued this on the back of that, and now we're going to put this inside of our sleigh. Okay, so we've got that, and this is going to come in here. Now, in the project, you're going to put your seat down here, and we're going to glue the sides onto here. Okay, because here in the back you're going to create a little slot, and that's where they have those little miniature presents that go in the back of the sleigh. Okay, now you could also put little candy canes in there. You could put whatever. Now the other thing I wanted to show you, we're going to put the blades on the sleigh here in just a second. But you could also leave this part of the sleigh and not glue this in if you didn't want to create a little cradle for you to put maybe some goodies that you could put in your sleigh instead, like if you wanted to give the little sleigh as a gift. Okay, this is a little canvas bag that I took some CRICUT red glitter iron on, and then just ironed it onto the front of it. And so if you wanted to give this as a treat gift, you could just leave the sleigh part out of here, the seat part. Okay, and then you would have room to just use the sleigh to put some goodies in it. Okay, so that's another choice. I just wanted to show you that. But right now I'm going to go ahead and glue this in. So this is going to come down in here, and you just want to kind of line it up, make sure you know where it goes. Okay, it's going to come all the way up to the front edge of where your front of your sleigh is. Okay, and then so you'll put it here along this part. We're going to put some adhesive on each side, and we're also going to put some adhesive on the side of where those little flaps are, and that's what's going to hold this in place for us. So I'm just going to add some adhesive over here on this side and a little on this side. and a little bit up here and on this flap up here. Okay, and then I'm going to put it back in. Get it situated so it's all in there where it's supposed to go, and then just hold the sides for a second until your sides of your paper grab onto the adhesive. Okay, and then you have the spot here in the back of your sleigh where those little packages could go, or you could actually just maybe, this is big enough, you could stick some little candy canes or maybe a candy bar or something in the back of it if you wanted to give it as a little treat thing. Maybe a cookie, a Christmas cookie, that would be kind of fun. Anyway, so once we get this glued all together, then we want to work on the base. Okay, so now we've done through step 8, we have our sleigh is all put together. All right, now we're going to put the runners on, so to speak, and you're going to have 4 pieces for this. Okay, so you're going to have 2 that look like this. Okay, and they have the large rectangle on them. There is a fold line along where this rectangle is that runs across the top of this runner, so make sure that you score that. It would have scored it with your score tool in Design Space, but you will need to then use I flipped it over and I used my scoreboard to run through down the side of this so that I got a nice clean score. Okay, so you're going to have 2 of these. I already have 1 of these ready, and then I have the other side. Okay, now you also will have 2 of these pieces. Okay, and that's what they're showing you. In number 9, you've got 2 of these with the rectangle on it, and you have 2 of these, okay, and they have these brackets on them, okay, so these little flaps also have score lines, okay, and you have 2 of these with the brackets, okay. So this is how this works. You're going to glue the other side, the one with the brackets, is going to go where the rectangle one is. Okay, so you're creating the inside of the sled blades. All right, so here is the rectangle. Okay, and this is the liner that's going to go here. Okay, and it's going to come up here like this, and we're going to glue this together. Okay, we're going to use the liquid glue, and then we're going to have these are going to fold in. Actually, I had them folded the other way. They're going to fold in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue this together, doing the same thing we did before. Now in the diagram, they show in step 11, they show that that these cross, the little I don't know what you call those. They're supports, I guess. The little supports cross over, and they don't really show you that it glues inside of that, okay? So that's why I wanted to make sure that I showed you this so that you see that when they talk about step, so here's these 2 steps, which are the 2 rectangles, right? And then it shows you that we're going to glue those on top of each other, the rectangles, and then it's going to create this. But in step 11, it shows you that there's these brackets that go inside of here. Well, the issue is if you don't glue this on first, it's almost impossible to get that glued in the inside of that very easily. So what I did was I glued mine on first. Before I glue my 2 flaps together, I glued my insides together first. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to add my adhesive on the back side of this. Now I'm not putting adhesive on my 2 support brackets, okay? I'm only putting it on the inside of the blade, so to speak, of my sleigh cut here. Okay, and I'm just adding some adhesive along the edges here. And you've got that really thin little swirly line. You want to make sure you get that. And I've got this. Okay, so I've got this on here. So now I'm going to put it on the inside. I'm just going to line up the parts. Should match perfectly here. Okay, so I'm going to line all those up. It adds more stability. That's why there's two pieces, in case you were wondering. It adds more stability, so when you put your sleigh on top of your blades here, it's going to support it. Okay, so now I've got the inside. All right, so here is my design here of the top of the sleigh, the sides of the sleigh rather, the blades. So I've got silver on one side and silver on the other, and then this is the top, and then here are my two brackets. Okay, these two brackets are going to fold up. Okay, and then this side is going to be glued on top of the other side. Okay, so that's going to create the base of our blades, and then these two pieces get glued to the top, to the underside here. So we're going to do that in a minute, but we got to put this together first. So you want to make sure that you're gluing, once you get this on here, you're going to be gluing the two rectangles together on top of each other. Okay, and that's going to create the bottom of the sleigh. All right, so I'm going to use, that's the other reason why I wanted to use the liquid glue, is because this glue will keep glitter stuck together when you're working with your project. Some of the glue will not stick this together. A regular tape runner would not work on this. It will eventually pop up, and you don't want that. So you want to make sure you're using the glue. There again, I'm using my close to my heart liquid glass glue. All right, so I'm going to line these up, make sure my edges are good here. I'm going to flip this over and just put a little pressure on it just so it grabs it in all spots. Okay, so now you've got your blades are now glued with each other to each other. Okay. All right, and then you have your little bracket things here. Okay, so these go, I'm going to put just a dab of glue on the ends of these, and they go across the side. So I'm going to do one side first, and I'm just going to hold that till it dries. Then you're going to fold up your other side of your sleigh, and then these are going to go on the other direction across here. Okay, so once you get those glued down, okay, they're going to be kind of crisscross, so when you look at it on the inside, it'll be crisscrossed a little bit, so you'll be able to see the little braces that you would have on the bottom of a sleigh. And then you're going to take your sleigh and you're going to glue it on top of your bracket, on your sled. Okay, so then you're just going to glue that part on just like that, and I'm just going to go ahead and use my liquid glass glue. I'm just putting a nice amount on there because I want my sleigh to stick to the top of this. And then you're going to put your sleigh on top, matching the back of the bracket of that liner piece with the back of your sleigh, and then you have your completed sleigh.